Brittany Peterson and Cody Lind are two of the top ultra runners in the entire world, specializing in running races up to 100 miles. But Peterson, an occupational therapist at Idaho State, ended up in Idaho by chance, or maybe we can call it fate.
And it was kind of ironic because I wanted to go to the mountains of Colorado, but I had a bad selection number amongst my classmates, and so someone told me Boise was cool. So I moved to Idaho, and it's a little hidden gem.
Both Peterson and Lind are involved in coaching now as well. For Lind, he says it's carrying on a family tradition.
A lot of that came with growing up around the ultra running scene and being around my dad, who was a coach, my grandfather, who was a doctor for some of these races, and then kind of taking that knowledge and wanting to put it together for some of my own coaching.
Both are currently preparing for this month's Western States Endurance Run in California. The 100-miler starts June 25th. Lind says they're making sure they don't get too excited.
It gets you very amped up, probably too much and too soon. I mean, you start thinking, all you've been thinking about the last 6 months is Western States, okay, when that day comes. And it's hard because you start thinking too much about it, or all the hype leads up the week before, the days before, and you have to be careful because it's still 100 miles that you got to travel by foot.
So many people can have a magical day and then so many things can happen.
And Peterson, speaking from personal experience, her first time at Western States back in 2019 was, well, I'll let her tell the story.
2019 was kind of as magical as your first time at Western States could get. We were chasing down first place and making up time. And so I actually, with Cody's help, caught her at mile 94. You know, we're almost done. That's not when you want to have a duel with somebody. But so we stayed neck and neck for a little while, and then she pulled a pretty fast move on a, sneaky downhill and just took off on me, and so I got second place.
I know what you're thinking. How in the world can anyone run for 100 miles? And Lind acknowledges it sounds a little crazy.
I'll be honest, to all of us, 100 miles, it's a long ways, and a lot can happen. But if you really break it down, and it all comes down to consistent training and putting in the effort leading up to it. So by the time we hit beginning of June, before the race, you're like, okay, 100 miles, it's not too bad.
And when they're not traveling the world for any number of races, Peterson and Lind return home to the Gate City. And they say Pocatello is a big reason for their success.
Part of the reason Brittany and I love Pocatello so much is because we have all the trails, access to all the trails, but also the community we have and the friends we have within this whole running community, between Pocatello Running Company, the Pocatello Running Club, and getting out with different races, Scout Mountain Ultra, and just to have all of that right here in our backyard, it makes training and running and just being a part of it so much fun. We seem to travel a lot, but every time we're in town and we get to see people and hang out and share some trail miles with them, it's very special.
Best of luck to Peterson and Lind next week.